With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
The question is, the Tyndall effect associated with the colloidal particles is due to. So Tyndall effect is generally shown by the colloidal particles. And if we talk about this effect, and what is the Tyndall effect? It is actually the scattering of light, right? So the phenomena of Tyndall effect, or you can say the Tyndall effect, is the phenomena of scattering of light, right? So this happens in colloidal particles because if we talk about the particle size of a colloid, that lies between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, right? It lies between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. So the size of the particle is big enough to scatter light, right? So whenever a light comes from a light source, right, it scatters in all directions. And this effect of scattering of light is what we call as a Tyndall effect, right? It is shown by the colloidal particles because the size is big enough to scatter the light, right? If the size is too small, right, if the size is less than 1 nanometer, then no scattering can take place, right? Because the light will not be able to pass through that particle because the particle will be so small to even scatter that light. And similarly, if the size of the particle is greater than 1000 nanometer, it cannot scatter the light, right? Because the particles which have greater size will tend to settle down, right? And when the light will pass through it, it cannot scatter the light, right? So therefore, colloidal particles show Tyndall effect, right? Size less than 1 nanometer belongs to true solution, right? It belongs to the true solution. So the particles of a true solution are very, very small to scatter light. Whereas the particles having size greater than 1000 nanometer belong to suspension, right? So in a suspension, it may or may not show Tyndall effect because in a suspension, when the particles, when they're left undisturbed, they tend to settle down. So some particles which are suspended in the solution can scatter light and show Tyndall effect. But again, it may or may not show. Whereas the particles of colloidal solution, they're suspended in the solution, right? And the particles have a perfect size to allow the light to pass through it, allow the scattering of light. Okay, so therefore Tyndall effect is associated with the colloidal particles due to the scattering of light, and which is given in option number 2. So option number 2 will be the correct answer, right? Option 1 is presence of electrical charges. No, that is not related to the Tyndall effect. Absorption of light. No, it is associated with the scattering of light. Reflection of light. No. So the correct answer is option 2. That's all for the question.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.